Crossing interstellar space plus live streaming plus survival in the wilderness plus face smashing plus infrastructure construction, Qian Yanuo, a killer of a famous Chinese brand in the 22nd century, accidentally crossed over due to a mission. When I woke up, I became a contestant in 365 Days of Primitive Survival Challenge, with the same name and surname as the original owner, looking young and small. StarCraft people who feed on nutrients, just a common stir-fried tomato and scrambled eggs is called an ancient food by StarCraft. Qian Yanuo embarked on a journey of searching for ingredients and making delicious food explorations in order to survive. When the contestants and the live broadcast audience saw the round and red thing being washed, cut, and rolled in a pot, they asked, Player 333, what is this? Learn more about stir-frying. #food live streaming has become popular all over the internet audience. Stay tuned for the live broadcast. Today, let's take a look at the delicious food prepared by contestant 333. Audience B, wow, this potato peeling action is clever, remember. Audience C, long live the goddess of food. NPC Butler. Player 333, maintain stability and become popular. I'll give you extra star coins. #daily fan interaction. One day, Qian Yanuo looked at the gift display on the screen, his face wrinkled and said, Audience 1111, once again warning not to brush gifts. It seriously affects the young hearts of the viewers watching the live broadcast. Audience 1111 twitched their lips and said, obedience. CP Qian Yanuo #gu yaisai, keywords of the novel. Interstellar wilderness. Big Boss's food live streaming becomes popular across the world without pop-ups. Interstellar wilderness. Big Boss's food live streaming becomes popular across the world. Download the full text. Interstellar wilderness. Big Boss's food live streaming becomes popular across the world. Latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Travel time, schedule program live streaming. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1 Travel time, schedule program live streaming, hiss. It hurts. Am I already dead? How could I still feel pain? The girl murmured in her mouth, waving her outstretched hand. The girl tried hard to open her eyes. In the next second, her dark and bright eyes widened and turned. She saw a pitch-black scene in front of her, with only the stars in the sky and the moon illuminating her. Qian Yanuo frowned, his face wrinkled into a ball, and he became alert. Where am I, hell? That's not right either. Hell has no moon. Have you traveled through time? Suddenly, there was a wave of pain in her head, and Qian Yanuo's face turned ugly. She shrank into a ball and covered her head, so painful that she couldn't move. She gritted her teeth and felt the pain make her face sweat. Thinking in my heart, I will live on. Memories flashed through my mind in waves the next second. A few minutes later, after receiving the memory, there was no pain in the head. Qian Yanuo stood up from the ground, patted the branches and leaves hanging on his body, sighed slightly, hooked his lips and smiled lightly, happy, as if relieved of something. Indeed, I have traveled. I have also traveled to the interstellar space. She is a formidable Tuo assassin from the Kingdom of China, who has actually penetrated the interstellar space. The gap she has crossed is huge enough. Then restart a new life from here. She also grew tired of her previous identity, without freedom. It was all dark days, endless bondage, endless constraints, and endless torment. This time, she must seize the opportunity that God has given her. Qian Yanuo remembered everything before, her eyes sharp and cold, with a hint of killing intent. She realized that this was no longer the Huaxia kingdom. The next second, her breath slowly calmed down, and her cold eyes faded away, returning to normal. Cherry's lips curled up and he smiled wickedly, my freedom is up to me. Qian Yanuo raised his hand and glanced at the nail-sized dot on his arm. The next second, the light shone straight up into the space above, presenting a transparent screen that was the size of a tablet iPhone. Inside, it had functions similar to a phone, but it should be more advanced than a phone. This is the original master star network machine, which most people in the interstellar world would have. The Xinglua phone is a small chip with similar functions as a mobile phone. It is as big as a nail and grows on the arm. It is not born in a person's arm, but is placed in it the day after tomorrow. And not everyone has it. Star network machines are purchased with star coins, and some very poor people simply cannot afford them. In my memory, the star network machine not only has a long lifespan, but it was installed from a very young age, and the star network opportunity follows people throughout their lives. Multifunctional, just like carrying a phone with you. The star network machine is divided into 3 levels: high, medium, low, and so on. However, it is clearly low level, and only through evolution can one obtain medium and high levels. Such a small chip is so impressive, it's quite advanced. Qian Yanuo saw in the bottom right corner of the screen that the live broadcast room had been reduced to the bottom. Seeing that there were only a few hundred viewers in the live broadcast room, as well as the little heart who couldn't give 100 likes, my eyebrows furrowed inadvertently and my mouth twitched. Without even thinking about it, he reached out and clicked X, turned off the live broadcast, and then turned off the star network machine according to his memory. Complete all of this. Qian Yanuo found a place to lean down and began to sort out his thoughts, thinking about what to do next. The original owner is a 16-year-old girl with the same name and surname as her. The original owner is currently participating in a festival event called Challenge 365 Days of Starry Wilderness to Survive. 365 days means 1 year. There are not many people participating in scheduled programs, all between the ages of 16 and 25, and there is also an age requirement for participating in Challenge 365 to Survive the Starry Sky, between the ages of 16 and 25. Those who participate in Challenge 365 Days of Starry Survival can receive up to 1 billion yuan of star coins per person, with a minimum of 100 million yuan, and a free entrance to the Star Advanced Academy. The original owner's family is considered wealthy, with no worries about food and clothing at home, and can also be considered a daughter. The original owner was born to be intelligent in learning, usually starting to learn advanced academic knowledge at the age of 18. However, the original owner has already started learning, and the entrance examination for Qian Advanced College can only be taken once every 3 years. However, the original owner has already taken the exam once and unexpectedly failed it. The original owner did not want to wait for these 3 years, nor did he want to enter the Star Advanced College through connections. After all, the successful admission assessment list of the Star Advanced College is announced by the whole planet, and anyone who enters through connections knows. Finally, he was seduced by his cousin and signed the life and death contract of Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival. At that time, the original owner's cousin said that as long as you passed the scheduled program of Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival, you can get the entrance to school, and it's not a backdoor relationship that people say, but a fair and honest effort to earn it. The original owner believed it. The contract period is 365 days, and after 365 days, the contract will expire. In case of breach, 10 penalty fees will be paid. The original owner learned that Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival was a scheduled program that he wanted to risk his life on. He began to feel a bit scared and thought about telling his parents to help him terminate the contract. Later on, I realized that in order to enter Qian Advanced College openly, I didn't mention it and insisted on joining. I didn't expect to be so unlucky, I just hung up on the first day. That is to say, the schedule for Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival has just begun, and now it is the first day. Should the original owner be foolish or clever? Hey! Qian Yanuo let out a slight sigh and touched his head, only to find some wet liquid sticking to his hair, which had a slightly fishy smell and a slight pain. Hiss! The original owner hit his head and hung up. The blood is all dry. Qian Yanuo clicked on the Star Meridian machine and wanted to see if there were any bandages or other materials used to bandage the wound. The reason why Xinglua machine is called advanced is because there is a small compartment inside that can store things. The small compartment is neither big nor small, just like the size of a room. In a function storage compartment of the Star Network machine, I found a backpack with only one backpack and a water dispenser, and there was nothing empty inside. Qian Yanuo reached out and clicked the confirm button, and the backpack and other items appeared in front of me. I found a small emergency bandage box from my backpack, and Qian Yanuo opened it. Inside, there were only a few medical supplies, bandages, hemostatic drugs, and scissors. It's evening now. Qian Yanuo lights a lamp and quickly identifies the wound, applies medicine and bandages it. After dressing up, I feel dizzy and a bit dizzy, probably due to excessive blood loss. I found another bottle of red, blood-like liquid from my backpack that marked the tonic. Qian Yanuo glanced at the note and took a sip. It had a sweet, fragrant scent, like the smell of grapes. Just finished drinking. A light flashed on his body, followed by an electronic version of the man's voice. More precisely, it's an NPC butler. NPC butler is just a product developed by the headquarters of the Bailing Ball Star. It is now placed on the Star Network machine of each participant, specifically supervising and tracking the players who participate in the 365-day challenge of primitive survival. The placement will not be lifted until the end of the day. So speaking, she can't be considered free now, it's too annoying. We'll have to wait for another year, but that's okay, at least better than before. Reminder again. For those on the 333rd who do not want to deduct star coins, start the live broadcast now. The live broadcast time is 2 hours. End of this chapter. Chapter 2. Midnight Live. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 Midnight Live. Qian Yanuo was puzzled and said, "Wait a minute, why do we still have live broadcasts when it's dark and don't let people rest?" According to the information sent by the celebrity headquarters, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. is the time to watch the broadcast at night. So on the 333rd, you don't have to resist. If you are 1 point late and don't start broadcasting, you will be deducted 10 star coins. Upon hearing this, Qian Yanuo's face turned angry and he suppressed his anger. He endured it and muttered to himself, "The people here are immortals. Don't sleep in the middle of the night, watch the live broadcast. Be careful not to turn yellow-faced." The famous assassin of the old lady's prestigious brand has not been boasted about yet, but has been pushed to the shelves. It's too much. A faint voice came from afar, and Qian Yanuo moved her ears. A hint of cunning flashed in her eyes, revealing a mischievous expression. "Don't be scared when you think so," she said. "Reach out and click." The faint sound of ding. Live streaming has been started at 11 a.m., with 3 viewers and 10 likes. The closing time is 1 o'clock p.m., remind everyone every half hour. Number 333, your number of viewers is too small. The contestants next door have hundreds of online viewers, and the highest number has tens of thousands of online viewers. You are only in single digits and must be promoted. There will be further inspections, and if you fail, you will be deducted star coins. Qian Yanuo's head grew bigger. Buckle. Another buckle. No one is watching this, it's none of my business. Qian Yanuo saw this terrible data and really didn't want to watch it anymore. Turning off the screen can still live stream. Hey. After all, he is not a celebrity, and he is a newcomer. With such a small number of people, it is normal. Besides, who asked you to recruit an unpopular and inexperienced player to live stream? According to my memory, most of the live streamers of Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival are inexperienced and unpopular, except for those with high looks. Of course, there are also some contestants who are popular. However, this Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival has been popular among viewers for a long time, even if it is not popular, it will definitely be popular in the later stages. After all, the viewers are looking for exciting entertainment and exploration. But this NPC butler deserves too much beating. You can easily deduct star coins points, which are different from star coins. Star coins are equivalent to money and can buy things. And the star coin score is equivalent to a score, whether qualified or not depends on the star coin score. So whether the original owner can pass the 365-day challenge of primitive survival or not is still one thing. After all, the reward states that only those who pass can get the opportunity to enter the school. But if it were me, of course it would be qualified, live streaming. Small idea. Due to its geological location, Manghuishing was abandoned by senior executives for development, gradually forming a primitive forest. According to the original owner's memory, the geography and geology of Mang Comet are uneven, one high and one low, with poisonous insects and beasts, lush forests, towering trees and ancient trees, mountainous areas, clear and bottomless rivers and lakes, etc. This Manghuishing is simply a living primitive forest. The environment is not bad, and it is not difficult for her to live in this primitive forest. The air here is fresh. Just treat it as a trip. Fortunately, it's not a deserted island with a harsh environment and nothing. This Manghuishing was contracted by the Celebrity Headquarters Company for live streaming of outdoor adventure programs. It's evening now, she hasn't forgotten about the live broadcast. The scheduled programs of Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival are all live streamed by the contestants themselves, without any director tracking or management like in Huaxia country. Only NPC butlers supervise these contestants. The scheduled program, Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival, belongs to individuals and is independently completed. However, there is still team building, and now she is separated from her own team members. In the dark by the grass, the movement grew louder and louder. Qian Yanuo dug out a 20-centimeter long knife from her backpack and held it in her hand. With a desk lamp in her left hand, she slowly walked towards the darkness. Her right hand's knife extended forward and swung a few times. Muttering, live streaming. How about attracting viewers and fans without exaggeration? Although she knows there is something in the grass, creating something that she doesn't know is mysterious, and mysterious should attract the audience. Live streaming should be like this. At this point, the number of online viewers in the live broadcast room increased from single digits to double digits. The audience watched as the screen was pitch black with only one light on, illuminating the small figure. Bubbled discussions began on the barrage. Audience 1. What are you doing with this 333? The screen went black all day today, and at night, you made such a strange and mysterious move. You're so skinny, how long can you hold on? Audience 2. The screen is black. It should be 333 in distress, but she's swinging around with a knife in her hand. What's going on? It's pitch black ahead. I only saw a hint of grass shadows. Audience 3. Upstairs, my ears are sharp. It seems like I can see some movement in front of me. Can the sound be 333? What animal is there in front of me? Audience 1. That's it, I hope 333 doesn't hang up. Audience 4. Everyone, be quiet and watch. I think it's a bit exciting next. Qian Yanuo clenched his knife in his hand and paused for a few seconds. His ears listened to the subtle sound and thrust fiercely towards the grass in the direction of the sound. The online audience took a deep breath, looking forward to the next moment. With their eyes wide open, they looked at the moment in front of the screen, all thinking of passing through and taking a look. A small question mark popped up in their minds: did you ever get stabbed? Audience 2. I think I definitely didn't get stabbed. Audience 15. 333s, this is too fake. I don't even know what it is, so I stabbed myself to death. I want to see this 333 deceiving us. Audience 3. Don't talk nonsense upstairs, don't slap your face later. Audience 15. I just said, damn it. There wasn't even a scream, it must have been deceiving us. I think 333 has a broken head. Audience 3. 15 upstairs, why is your head so 15? Didn't you see the sound in the grass we discussed earlier? 333's technique is fast, accurate, and ruthless, always holding on to 333's bad words. Audience 15. How do I say 333? 333 is just deceiving and gaining attention. You keep your eyes wide open and see what 333 is doing. When I say you take the number of audience 3 and match it with the number 3 of 333, do you want to be self-righteous? In a luxurious room, a figure was about to smash their phone, but after a few seconds, they withdrew. Audience number 3 suppressed his anger and said, 15, I'm too lazy to argue with you. Waiting for you to be slapped in the face. At this moment, Qian Yanuo didn't know that someone was arguing with her during the live broadcast. She was currently searching for something in her backpack, and the little thing she stabbed just now was still hanging in the knife. The NPC butler bubbled and said, what are you doing on number 333? Hurry up and do something normal, the live broadcast room is exploding. Qian Yanuo looked unimportant and said, the conversation has exploded, it's not even better. NPC butler. The issues are all negative impact information, from the 333rd, take a look at how your live broadcast room talks about you. Qian Yanuo, oh, I thought it was a big deal. It's good to have someone bubble up, but even if it's negative and positive information, there's still traffic to earn, and there's still one person paying attention to it. The NPC butler was taken aback and said, it seems right to think so, but... End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Magic Rabbit Beast, Nutrients. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3 Magic Rabbit Beast, Nutrients. Qian Yanuo took out a pair of gloves from the middle of her bag and quickly put them on, which sparked a lot of speculation from the audience. Audience 6. So, what is number 333 going to do? Audience 15. She's so delicate, I think she's just a delicate young lady. She probably doesn't look very good either. Audience 3 became angry and said, Yaya, their appearance is online. If you don't understand something like 15, don't talk nonsense. Audience 18. Stop making noise. Look at 333. It seems like you're rummaging through the grass. Audience 3 confidently said, waiting for 15 to be slapped in the face. NPC management is also curious about what this 333 is doing, they don't follow the usual routine. 333, what were you wearing this thing for just now? Qian Yanuo glanced at the gloves in his hand and felt a little disgusted. Of course I'm wearing them. But these gloves are not very nice. They look ugly. NPC management, Online audience. Qian Yanuo hung the desk lamp to one side and rummaged through the grass. Just now, she just wanted to wear gloves and go get that thing. Pulling his hand into the grass, he grabbed the little thing in his hand and muttered, got it. Holding a long knife in his right hand, he pulled it out with a loud splash, like some liquid splashing out. The audience heard this sound and saw this scene again, with cruel and disgusting thoughts in their hearts. Audience 3 seized the opportunity and mocked, 15 silly fork, silly. The feeling of slapping faces is not satisfying. The audience was stunned for 15 minutes and said, Audience 2. It's really a small animal, it's not a magic rabbit. But 333 is also too cruel. Audience 3. Not cruel. Love starts. 333 cheers. Give you a rocket. The audience saw the gift rocket on the screen and worshipped in their hearts, realizing that audience 3 was a tycoon. Great tycoon. Brush a rocket with 10,000 coins. Most people in live streaming rooms don't know how to use rockets, but they mostly use love, which is just a matter of exchanging one-star coin for it. Qian Yanuo received the notification of the gift, frowned slightly, and looked at the fat rabbit in his hand. His stomach suddenly growled. This is a warning sign of hunger, she should eat now. The audience is very curious about what this 333 enchanting rabbit beast is looking at. Can it be difficult to still want to eat? Her next sentence confirmed the audience's conjecture in the live broadcast room. It looks quite plump, it should be delicious. I'll stew you tonight. Go Xiao said. Qian Yanuo was just thinking about how to stew and eat when the NPC butler heard a voice saying, "Number 333, hurry up and take a look at the live broadcast room. There are almost 100 people, because you're talking about how you want to use this magic rabbit beast to eat with just one sentence." Qian Yanuo was puzzled and said, "The magic rabbit beast. Speak of it." NPC butler. Number 333, I don't care if you have amnesia or what, live stream well. So this rabbit is called a magic rabbit beast. It seems that the original owner has also seen this rabbit in his memory, but how could he not know about the magic rabbit beast? Qian Yanuo guessed that either the original owner didn't know, or she accepted that the original owner's memory was not very complete. It's obvious that it's the latter. The original owner is so vast, how could he not know about the magic rabbit beast? Butlers. The audience can hear my voice. The NPC butler said seriously, "Of course I can, except for mine. Did you not read the live broadcast manual carefully?" Qian Yanuo, She just arrived, what do you think? The audience was discussing one after another. Audience 2, I guess 333 must have broken his head during the day. The bandage is all over his head. Audience 1. It should be amnesia, not even the magic rabbit beast knows. Audience 10. I work at a food production company. The magic rabbit beast undergoes machine cleaning and processing, disinfection to remove odors and impurities, frying into juice, and finally extracting nutrients. It is then placed in a food tube and placed in a 15°C freezer for 18 days. Finally, it is thawed before it can be consumed and sold on the market. Audiences, amazing, brother. Audience 65. So the 333 should not be eaten indiscriminately, just eat like this, will it hang up like this? Audience 33. Responding to the speculation upstairs, there are many ways for the magic rabbit beast to eat. I am from the planet of Bailing, and my family will order ancient culinary recipes that have been lost. I believe everyone knows that cuisine is a very delicious thing, and I don't know what surprises 333 will bring. I'm a bit excited. The audience, upon seeing these numbers, also knows about food and is looking forward to it. Audience 15. Let's just talk nonsense about 33 upstairs. She's the only one who knows how to eat delicious food, cut. Audiences, Audience 3 finally said a few words. 333, come on. Go on. Buy nutrients when you're hungry. Don't be hungry and hang up. I finally caught the taste of the live broadcast, young master. I'm brushing rockets for you. As soon as Qian Yanuo opened the screen, she saw someone on the live broadcast screen brushing rockets for her, which was still over 10. It was done by a person named Audience 3. Do you want to say a few words? It's a bit chilly not to say it. Let's talk about it. Qian Yanuo raised his voice and said to the live broadcast room, thank you to the audience for brushing the gift rocket on the 3rd. There's no need to brush so many gifts, thinking of the clichés spoken by the host while watching live broadcasts in China before. Qian Yanuo pondered for a moment and smiled lightly, if you like to watch, you can use your fingers to follow. Follow 333 live room, 333 will take you to all corners of the Monghue interstellar world. Adventure with 333. Audience 3. 333, come on. Keep an eye on you, I am your first loyal fan. I have been a fan all the way to the end. Then 10 more roses were painted, and the other audience members also followed suit to paint gifts. The screen in the live broadcast room exploded again, and the originally dozens of messages were scrolled to hundreds, and the number of people also increased. NPC Butler, for those on number 333, we need to maintain this state, interact more with fans, and not be cold and indifferent. Live broadcast room screen. Audience 44, who said 333 is ugly. The voice is clearly beautiful and sweet, and this facial shape looks like a symbol of a beautiful woman. Although it's not clear in the dark, it's definitely not ugly. A beautiful girl. Audience 3. Roll on, go on the side, what a sleazy talk. Audience 44. Qian Yanuo quickly flipped through several pieces of information, some of which she was interested in reading, thinking to herself, so people here all feed on nutrients. Qian Yanuo glanced at the 6-digit star coins with a balance and chuckled, if you have star coins, you can buy food. NPC Butler. You may be the first contestant from 333 to have someone brush 6-digit star coins for you, but you're eating. The gifts and everything that live streaming viewers brush belong entirely to her, while the rest are 91 points, the company is 9 points, and she is 1 point. It's too difficult. I don't want to buy food. When purchasing something in the Star Machine Mall, as long as you place an order, no matter which planet it is on, the courier can quickly deliver it. Looking at the products in the mall, they are all various nutrients and daily necessities. This nutrient solution doesn't taste very good just by looking at the introduction, she accidentally said, but she didn't realize it. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Interstellar Ancient Cuisine. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Interstellar Ancient Cuisine. It's terrifying to make her a Chinese person eat this flowing liquid every day. The audience heard her roast. The NPC Butler shouted, number 333, you want to go to heaven. You said to your fans that the nutritional supplements are not good to drink. Your words will catch the attention of the food factory, and in severe cases, the food factory will smear you. Your artist is almost finished starting. Qian Yanuo scratched his head and said, oh. The NPC Butler is getting extremely angry and says, why don't you explain? Qian Yanuo calmly said, no need to explain, the more you explain, the greater the mistake. NPC Butler. She never thought about becoming an artist, nor was she interested. Currently, she is only interested in the Star Advanced Academy, which even the original owner desperately entered. She is very interested. Reclaim a new identity, start over again, and create the life you want. Qian Yanuo thought to himself. Seeing the string of words on the barrage of the live broadcast room, Qian Yanuo reduced the size of the words to one corner and then searched for everything in the mall, but there was nothing to eat normally. Everything was juice, juice. There are all kinds of medicines, and even medicines are almost all medicines. Only some familiar and unfamiliar fruits. And some familiar ingredients, as well as some unfinished dishes in the anchor's small shop. People in the interstellar space are different. Don't look for it on number 333. Didn't you see that all the food was locked? Even the ones used were almost all locked. There are only some that are not locked, and you can't buy even with star coins. Have you forgotten the rules for participating in 365 Days of Primitive Survival Challenge? Said the NPC Butler. Qian Yanuo's face was embarrassed, she really didn't know, and now she has some memories flashing through her mind. Originally, there were restrictions on the live broadcast of this program. Her Star Network machine was locked by management personnel before participating. In order to lock in some food, what should I do if there is no food? Are other contestants the same? NPC Butler, number 333, if you want to eat, you must find someone in your group to have the supplies you don't have. Your supplies only come with an emergency backpack. Qian Yanuo, oh. Her emergency backpack contained only 6 items. A knife, blood tonic, emergency medicine box, a pair of gloves, a basin, a desk lamp, and a water dispenser that was not included in the supplies. The audience is curious about what this 333 is doing foolishly. Audience 6, I guess I'm starving to death. Audience 5. I guess she's thinking about what to do without food, because the contestants of 365 Days of Primitive Survival cannot buy food. Even if there is a gift from Audience 3's tycoon, it's useless. Audience 3. Oh, that's right. I forgot about the restriction. Come on, 333. It seems that these things can't be purchased anymore, and my group of people probably won't be able to find them for a while. I'll talk about it tomorrow, and she doesn't want to drink that nutrient either. Then let's buy some things that can be purchased. Fortunately, there are some live streaming merchants hanging goods in the mall, and Qian Yanuo has really found several ingredients that can be used to make seasonings, and can buy them all with just one click. After all, these seasoning ingredients are rare in the interstellar world, and it was only after searching that I found them. Only these few seasoning ingredients can be purchased, and the rest cannot be found. Hey! I can't even spend a star coin. The NPC butler reminded again, for those on the 333rd who need to finish their fans in the live broadcast room, if it's serious, your star coins will be deducted. Qian Yanuo, I know, don't rush. People won't finish walking, I will make them stay well. Audiences, 333, we're still listening. Can we chat in front of each other? Qian Yanuo had to close the mall and said, stewing is not enough, it seems like this is the only way. Qian Yanuo thought for a moment, his eyes flickering with a hint of brilliance. He clicked on the live broadcast and grabbed the rabbit, saying to the audience in the live room, online viewers of 333, now 333 is going to make this magical rabbit beast into a delicious food. After a pause, he said again, that's right, you heard me right. 333 is going to make it and eat it. Before 333, I had a deep obsession with ancient cuisine and had some ideas. I wanted to challenge myself to use this magic rabbit beast to make delicious food. Can we make ancient cuisine? Qian Yanuo looked at the words on the barrage and said, it's delicious food. You're not mistaken. Originally, in the interstellar world, the cuisine of the Chinese people has become a lost ancient culinary recipe. It is rare on low and intermediate planets, and only some less common chefs on advanced interstellar planets still preserve ancient cuisine. Some families only make it, which is why these people can make Chinese cuisine. If there is no food to eat, she will make it herself. Audience number 3 has shown interest and received another wave of gifts. A series of numbers popped up on the barrage, and Qian Yanuo glanced at Goxiao and said, finally, I want to see how 333 finished this magic rabbit beast. Please don't leave. If you want to see how 333 makes delicious food, please don't leave. You won't miss the most important segment. Please see the end. Now 333 has to work, it's inconvenient to talk to each other. Thank you for your understanding. Qian Yanuo finished speaking, turned off the screen, and began to move. She observed that the place was safe and there were no dangerous beasts coming. At this moment, the live broadcast audience also quieted down, watching with a curious heart, while a small group of impatient viewers who didn't see her leave. NPC Butler. This 333 has a sharp tongue, can still talk, and has a flexible and open-minded mind. However, his temper is a bit stubborn. Stinky. Qian Yanuo hung the desk lamp on a tree branch to let the light shine far and wide, and then took out a basin from the emergency backpack. The basin was not big, but it could hold the magic rabbit beast. Holding the leg of the magic rabbit beast, head down, drained the dry blood. Then put the magic rabbit beast into the basin, and pour the hot water taken from the small grid into the basin. Qian Yanuo went to the side of the tree roots and found some branches and leaves. A few minutes later, he rolled the magic rabbit and continued to soak in hot water. The audience didn't understand her action and could only watch it carefully. Qian Yanuo found a shiny stone to replace the kitchen board, cleaned it thoroughly, and then washed the blood off the knife. He placed it on the stone and will use it later. At this point, Qian Yanuo felt almost done. He picked up the magic rabbit from the basin, poured dirty water, and put it back into the basin. He began to peel and clean the inside of the magic rabbit, and so on. The whole process took about an hour, and the audience in the live broadcast also watched for an hour. Some of them became impatient and began to urge or leave. However, the audience who watched carefully kept watching and became increasingly addicted, curious about the flexible and skillful movements of number 333, watching Yangxin pleasing to the eye. Audience 1. It looks quite stylish, but I don't know if I can eat it. Audience 33. 333, this cleaning technique for the magic rabbit beast is similar to the ancient recipe, and the steps are also similar to those made by my family. However, 333's cooking technique for food is much more flexible and good than my family's cooking technique. Let me mention here that people in my family have also made a delicious dish using the magic rabbit beast. It depends on how to make it in the next step 333. It's not about stewing soup, but how it works. I remember my family cooked it, but it wasn't very successful. The taste looked delicious, but it tasted a bit cheesy. Audience 22, it turns out that someone really knows how to cook delicious food. The home of 33 upstairs must have settled in the intermediate interstellar space. Audience 33. On some intermediate interstellar planets, there are some older generation chefs who know how to cook. Audience 26, hey. It's only intermediate, advanced interstellar space is dazzling. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Taking Fire. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Taking Fire. Audience 77. I just went to the neighboring live broadcast room and saw that contestant 55 is participating in a challenge night walking activity, which is a bit exciting. Audience 53. I also saw that many contestants are challenging this night exploration activity. It looks quite exciting, but it doesn't feel as good as 333. Audience 88, let me tell you, there are also some contestants who are challenging to make delicious food. You can go and see, but I don't know if it's from that planet. Audience 3. Everyone be quiet, don't make any noise. Qian Yanuo's technique is flexible, which is something she has practiced. In the past, she often made food, and being a killer is all about self-reliance. Over time, the technique becomes proficient, and with frequent practice of weapons, the hands themselves become agile and agile. After being cleaned by her, the magic rabbit had its legs crossed a few times with a knife and placed in a basin. At this point, the package she purchased arrived and was delivered by a suspended delivery truck. There are 4 packages in total. Quickly open a package that is 20 centimeters long and wide, and find the necessary seasoning and deodorizing ingredients inside. There are only 5 types of ingredients found, including ginger, garlic, fennel, licorice, and spicy. She found almost all the live streaming and hanging merchants to collect these 5 ingredients, which are all inconspicuous merchants. Buying goods during live streaming is also limited by the schedule of this program, and there is also a nutrient that cannot be purchased. Qian Yanuo is really grateful that these seasoning ingredients can be purchased, but she has also finished buying them. I don't know if they will be available later. After all, these ingredients also belong to the ancient seasoning recipes on the interstellar planet. On a huge screen, there are thousands of small screens divided. Several middle-aged elderly people look at the screen and take notice of the actions of contestant 333 just now. An old man stroked his white beard and said, "This girl actually knows ancient cuisine." Another old man sighed and said, "Yes, you're quite familiar with this technique just now." If you're not mistaken, the seasoning you just purchased on the 333rd is also something from an ancient food recipe. This is a bit against the rules. Should we take action? The old man stroking his white beard said, "It's indeed a violation of the scheduled program requirements of Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival. If everyone can buy live streaming, it will be meaningless. Then lock the remaining few items as well. By the way, notify all express transportation centers that nothing can be transported into Monghue Planet for a year." At this moment, Qian Yanuo was completely unaware that he was being targeted by the upper echelons of the headquarters for purchasing seasoning and deodorizing ingredients. "I didn't know anything until the voice of the NPC butler came back. For the sake of fairness and justice, the remaining 5 products of the 333 ban are not allowed to be purchased, so the contestants are surrounded." Upon hearing this news, Qian Yanuo's whole body was wilting. "NPC butler, were you intentionally doing it? 333s, you're satisfied. You can still buy some things. Other anchors don't have much to ask for, and the ban on all purchases is a notice posted above. Who made you buy things so blatantly and was caught by them? Qian Yanuo. So this is my fault, is it my bad luck? Hey, forget it." The audience saw 333's distressed expression and guessed what major difficulties 333 had encountered. Audience 3. Just received news that all the contestants of Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival have had their shopping malls locked down. 333 is probably due to this distress. Audience 19. Upstairs Tycoon, I learned the news so quickly. Are you an insider from above? Audience 3. No comment. Audience 6, a tycoon is a tycoon. But this contestant is going to suffer. First, food cannot be purchased, and then only what can be purchased is locked. Audience 20, after hearing this news, I guess it must be because 333 purchased those packages. The audience was barraged discussing the actions of contestant 333. Audience 3, don't make noise. Quietly watch what 333 is looking for. Audiences. The tycoon is different. At this time, Qian Yanuo was lucky enough to find a small patch of rapeseed flowers. Rapeseed is also a vegetable oil that can be fried into oil, and the tender stems and leaves of rapeseed flowers can be used as vegetables. Muttered, "Hey. I was originally looking for any other seasoning ingredients, but I didn't expect to find this rapeseed flower. But I'm also lucky, this thing has many uses." Click on the brightness level on the screen, turn the light to the high light level, and there is a small light behind the Star Network machine screen. Click the button to turn it on. Qian Yanuo thought for a moment and decided to first pick the rapeseed flowers in this small area. It's not easy to pick them according to the ingredients, so pick them first and then proceed with the rest. After storing the rapeseed flowers. Finally, it took a full half-hour to prepare the seasoning ingredients and brush the prepared seasoning and deodorizing ingredients on the meat of the magic rabbit. It was already time to close the live broadcast. Many contestants have closed their live broadcast rooms, and some viewers have returned to her live broadcast room. At this time, the number of people in her live broadcast room is steadily increasing. Qian Yanuo ignored and continued to be busy living. She was already very hungry. I shaved 2 more wooden strips that were 2 fingers thick, passed the magic rabbit beast from head to toe, and placed it in a basin. I dug several holes in the ground, built a frame with trees, made a tree, flattened it, carved a shallow hole on it with a knife, and then folded another dry wood as a stick. Qian Yanuo put his backpack on the ground, sat down directly on his buttocks, stepped on the flat dry wood with his feet, pressed one end of the stick onto the concave hole, and held it with his palms, rubbing it back and forth. The audience in the live broadcast room saw this scene and raised question marks one after another. Audience 1, what is 333 rubbing? She's not cooking anymore. Audience 32, according to ancient historical records, if I'm not mistaken, number 333 is drilling wood to start a fire. The method of drilling wood to start a fire is even more ancient than ancient culinary recipes, and this method of starting a fire is almost extinct. However, there are still some older generations who understand this method of starting a fire, which is very laborious. However, there is a record of this method of making fires by drilling wood in the Advanced Interstellar Empire History Comprehensive College, but it has not yet been taught. It is only recorded that I graduated from the Empire History Comprehensive College and have read this manual in the college library. Few people know about this method of making fires. Number 333, surprisingly, knows this method of making a fire. I think 333's knowledge is already quite extensive. Audience 33, let me also mention that number 333 wants to start a fire and make delicious food with the magic rabbit beast. If everyone is curious, they will watch until the end. However, what I am most curious about is, what method does 333 use to make what kind of delicious food? Audience 3 responded with a domineering barrage. It seems that most of the viewers are cultured people. I hope those uneducated and brainless people don't come out and force them blindly. To be a good person, one must have good qualities. Some viewers responded with one sentence. Well said, positive energy makes us happy, negative energy makes us negative. End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Barbecue. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6 Barbecue. Audience 79, I've gained a lot of experience. So, there's still this way to start a fire, and watching a broadcast can teach you some knowledge. And it's also advanced interstellar knowledge. There's some knowledge in 333. Audience 3, 79 upstairs, stay tuned if you're interested. 333 will broaden your horizons. The sentence from Audience 3 has attracted other viewers to pay attention to the 333 live broadcast room. NPC Butler, 333, come on, maintain this state, keep the hearts of the audience. On a certain planet, several elderly people looked at the screen and started discussing again. The old man with a long white beard sighed and said, "This girl is only a teenager. She knows so much. Drilling wood to make a fire is even more ancient than ancient culinary recipes. Generally, people in the low, medium, and interstellar regions don't know at all, only those old people from the 100 Emperors star know. Even I've heard of it, I haven't seen that ancient book." Another elderly voice said, "Only advanced interstellar space knows. Did this girl accidentally hear about it?" "It's possible," the old man nodded on the grinding wheel and smoothed his white beard. "If Qian Yanuo heard them, she would definitely protest. I am from China and have extensive knowledge, so of course I know. Interstellar is divided into low-level, intermediate, and high-level. There are many planets in the low, medium, and high interstellar space. The lower-level interstellar space starts with Mang and consists of 6 lower-level planets. De, Ji, Ti, Mei, Lao, and Hui. And the intermediate interstellar space is composed of 5 intermediate planets, namely Ji, Shu, De, Li, and only one intermediate planet composed of Bailing Star, which is not first named Lan. In the advanced interstellar space, with 100 as the first character, there are 4 advanced planets composed of Emperor, King, Phoenix, and Ming. I finally learned about interstellar planets from the original owner's memory. It turns out that there are so many planets, and there are still divisions. The planet where my family lives is neither low nor high, sandwiched in the middle. Qian Yanuo pondered deeply in his heart, regained his composure, and felt a numbness and soreness in his hands. Qian Yanuo moved his hands and continued, not knowing how long it took before finally rubbing to the point of sparks. Qian Yanuo quickly dried the leaves, and there were some sparks on the dry leaves below. Qian Yanuo lowered his head and gently blew. The audience lost sight of her dogs in decent posture, but they also wanted to know what she was doing. Audience 15. Number 333, from a girl's family, this posture is not embarrassing, it's really a disgrace. Audiences. Audience 3 stared at the numbers with their eyes fixed on them, and their temper exploded. The calloused hands quickly typed the words, saying, "Did 15 upstairs have a brain twitch? You're being rude, I'll fuck you to death." After warning, the audience on the 15th did not receive any barrage. "It's on." Qian Yanuo's bright and dark eyes stared at the slowly burning flames, the corners of his mouth slightly curved, and he smiled lightly. Audiences who are still watching the live broadcast, 333 has already set the fire on. The next step is to describe it in one word. Roast. The NPC butler suddenly asked her to explain to the audience the previous fire start and what to do next. Player 333, may I ask what method you used to start the fire just now? Qian Yanuo turned his head and chuckled, I used a more ancient method of drilling wood to start a fire than food. The audience should remember the steps of how to start a fire in 333 just now. Maybe you will use it in the future. Audiences, go on 333. Keep an eye on you. Player 333, just now you said a barbecue. What does this barbecue mean? So what do you want to do next? Qian Yanuo, roasting is also a method of making delicious food, but not all the dishes used are roasted, and tonight it will broaden your horizons. After Qian Yanuo finished speaking, he began to move his hands and folded the dry trees into small pieces. He put them into the fire and burned them. When the fire was almost ready, he placed the prepared magic rabbit beast on the left and right shelves. And the meat of the magic rabbit was in the middle, roasted by the fire. Although the seasoning, oil, and salt are not complete, they are still delicious when roasted, and it is also very tempting, especially when you are hungry. You will drool when you smell the fragrance, let alone taste it. Not long after, Qian Yanuo flipped the meat of the magic rabbit a few times. At this moment, the roasted aroma had already flown away, and her stomach growled a few more times. Hungry. The audience's sharp ears heard the sound and engaged in another round of discussion. Audience 9. Number 333, you're hungry, I heard you. Audience 355. I heard it too. Next, 99 plus, I heard bullet comments popping. Qian Yanuo listened to the NPC butler's reminder and didn't pay much attention. As time passed, Qian Yanuo stared at the grilled meat, while the audience in the live broadcast also stared at it. The skin has been roasted to a golden yellow color, and the oil on top is very obvious, making a sizzling sound of oil. After a while, Qian Yanuo sprinkled the remaining seasoning on top, and the fragrant and spicy taste was simply her favorite. Done. Picking up the roasted meat of the magic rabbit beast, Qian Yanuo smelled the aroma, blew hot air, reached out and directly tore off a piece of grilled meat and put it in his mouth. Although it didn't taste salty, it was still delicious. She tore another piece off and chewed it in her mouth. Her elephant-eating image is bold and natural, and her movements are clearly very rude. Hundreds of viewers in the live broadcast room watched her eat so well, and they really wanted to try it out, whether it was very delicious. Audience 33, number 333, this grilling method is quite unique, and the taste looks good, but unfortunately we can only watch it eagerly. Audience 180. Whispering. Watching the food scene on 333 in the middle of the night, my stomach is hungry. Audience 99. It seems very delicious. My stomach is going to growl. Audience 3, number 333, you've made me want to eat. Although I can't eat it, I'm satisfied with just smelling it. Please meet my request for number 333. Qian Yanuo was about to close the live broadcast when the annoying voice of the NPC butler rang out. Contestant 333, some viewers said they want to smell it, please satisfy them. Qian Yanuo thought for a moment, then turned her eyes and curled her lips. It's okay too. Let them smell the taste too, I regret it a million times. I was fascinated by my delicious barbecue, and I'm not responsible. Audience. We're listening to the 333rd, 333 is so narcissistic. Turn on the function of trying to smell on the live broadcast. After turning it on, Qian Yanuo deliberately tore the roasted meat of the magic rabbit beast in half, and simply grabbed it with his hands, half ate it in his mouth, and the other half was held close to the screen for them to smell enough. The live broadcast of the aroma of grilled meat has captivated the audience, and now they have also smelled the fragrance. Seeing 333 eating like this, their saliva has been swallowed and swallowed. Audience 3. It's so dark, I finally understand what 333 means. Audience 33. This is the classic essence of ancient food. It's delicious and fragrant, not as mild as nutrition. If you want to eat this barbecue, you will be satisfied. Audience 55. If you want to eat, why don't you just find the ingredients to make it? Speaking so intoxicated, I don't think it tastes good to smell it in the dark. Audience 15, I guess you still have a bad stomach. Audience 22. No. Something that smells good must taste delicious. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Unmatched Beauty. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Unmatched Beauty. As the audience was intoxicated, a clear and loud voice said, "Ladies and gentlemen, that's all for tonight's live broadcast. It's already very late. Let's rest well tonight." After finishing speaking, Qian Yanuo saw a series of words on the barrage and thought to herself, fortunately, the words were not lost, otherwise she would have had difficulty communicating with people if she had traveled alone. Audience 25, on the 333rd, will you still make delicious food tomorrow? I have decided, I want to learn how to make delicious food from you. Audience 3, do you have any ingredients upstairs from the 25th? These ingredients are either found in uncultivated wilderness forests or on planets starting with the word 100 in advanced interstellar spaces, which are also rare. Other low and intermediate interstellar spaces are even rarer. Audience 232, what the tycoon said should be right. Audience 33, it's also difficult for intermediate planet people here to find this ingredient, even fruits are rare, and only fruits can be bought in various chain international cities. Audience 25, Player 333, are you still making delicious food tomorrow? Qian Yanuo rubbed his chin and said, it depends on the situation. As long as we find the ingredients, we will live stream cooking on the 333rd. The audience received the answer with some anticipation. Qian Yanuo turned off the live broadcast, thinking to himself that he still doesn't know if he can get up tomorrow. The audience remembered the fragrance through the screen and couldn't forget it for a long time. She has been live streaming for a full 4 hours, and now her stomach is full, but she is tired. Hiccup lightly belched and stretched his hand lazily. Quickly packing up his bag, he retrieved the few items from the small grid of the Star Network machine, put them on the emergency backpack, threw them back, half-lifted them, and added the remaining firewood to continue the fire. Tonight, I'll stay with you. Qian Yanuo raised her bright and dark eyes, patted the fat banyan tree root with her hand, and chuckled. 3 or 2 times, I went down to the tree and found a thick branch that was over 2 meters high, wide and flat. I found a comfortable position, and my backpack leaned against it. I lay down flat. In a magnificent living room, a tall man wearing white silk pajamas stood straight in a military posture. The man had yellow curly hair and his fair, handsome, angular face could confuse a young girl. And facing the black-haired man on the sofa who was even more outstanding and beautiful than him, he was drinking fragrant and sweet tea. That action was so elegant that it was indescribable, with an innate royal temperament and nobility, like a prince of a noble royal family, but it gave people a feeling of being far away from others. At this moment, the strong aura emanating from the man's body made people dare not approach and look directly, dare not expect anything, and dare not say anything. The man looked up and revealed his exquisitely beautiful and delicate face, with sharp edges and corners. His appearance was like the pinnacle of a fairyland on earth, making people immediately intoxicated upon seeing it. The sword eyebrows are sharp, the dark and deep eyes are sharp, and the thin lips under the high nose bridge are slightly pursed. Staying up late at night and watching live broadcasts. Why, we shouldn't explain it. The tone is cold and sharp, listening to inexplicable panic and fear. The man in the white pajamas chuckled and looked at him, feeling guilty and stuttering. That, me, you, I just want to take a look. The slender fingertips of the peerless beautiful man lifted the teacup, took a sip of the tea, and said in a wicked voice, "The live broadcast is so beautiful, it can make you a professional soldier fall in love." Under pressure, the pajama man lowered his head and said, Me. Keep standing. Reflect on yourself, said the peerless beauty, elegantly standing up, stepping out of his slender legs, and leaving. Monghue planet, the sound of birds and insects in the morning. In the forest, tall trees envelop the air, leaving only the gaps that are not blocked by branches and leaves, and the warm sun shines into the forest. The girl on the tree stretched her body, flipped over, found a comfortable spot, and continued to sleep. The cool and gentle light made her drowsy. And a group of young girls crossed the safety net, shuttling through the forest all the way. These young girls wearing uniform clothing were searching for people. And what they didn't know was that the girl they were looking for was sleeping soundly. What does this Qian Yanuo mean? Just leave our camp without permission, and let us all find her alone. A voice of unfriendly complaint sounded. All right. Don't complain, who told you not to give her nutritional supplements? She's so stupid not to go out and find something to eat. Another playful voice advised. The girl became angry and sarcastically said in a domineering tone, "Who made her talk back to me? I deserve it. I thought she was still a young lady here, bah, she's nothing." A man with an ordinary appearance was somewhat dissatisfied with her words. They just said it, and you don't have to say that, Galanas. I just casually talked about her, I didn't expect her to be so foolish. I really believe her, said Galanas, with a strange tone of yin and yang. Macy, do you think she's stupid? She can't blame anyone. Nas is right, agreed Gulams. The girl's eyes flashed with dissatisfaction. If it weren't for finding her useful, I wouldn't have been too lazy to go find her. It's really unlucky, the daughter's identity has been given to her for nothing. Gulanas corrected her words and mocked, Macy, it should be a daughter like her who should hide in the greenhouse and be well pampered. Like a sick seedling. That's right. A few people didn't quite agree with what they said. Everyone is in the same group, there's no need to make this happen. And we also have to live together for a year, looking up but not looking down. Galanas didn't agree, cut. The good rest weather is because of her, we have to get up early in the morning to find someone. The silent man with glasses turned dark and said angrily, if you don't want to come, no one will call you. And who is the reason for Dong's injury like this? Will it hurt if you touch your conscience? Galanas, who was publicly criticized, felt angry and pointed angrily, saying, you humiliate me. The man turned his head in anger, and Galanas was furious, her chest heaving up and down. She glared angrily, I'm not leaving. The man with glasses cut and said, if you don't leave, then don't leave. Anyway, no one is forcing you to leave. Galanas had an unpleasant expression on her face. The two of them froze for a while. The woman holding the steering wheel in the group said to them, all right, stop making noise. The steering indicator is almost here. Galanas, if you're tired and don't want to leave, you can rest here. We'll find someone later, let's go back together. Galanas let out a coquettish voice and said, who said I won't leave? Let's go, I have a strong physique, and this road is even harder for me. The woman paused and said, then let's go. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Inviting Black Constitution. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Chapter 8 Inviting Black Constitution. Strive to find Qian Yanuo before the start of the live broadcast. The forest road is difficult to navigate, uneven, with slippery slopes, lush vegetation, and numerous flying insects. Occasionally, a few complaints can be heard. 10 minutes later, the group arrived at a large banyan tree. Galanas and her companions leaned against a thick ancient tree root to rest, complaining incessantly. It's all Qian Yanuo's fault, I've been bitten by insects on my hands. I'm starving to death. Galanas took out a few bottles of nutritional supplements from the star machine and started drinking them with a gulp. She drank a few bottles at once, and handed the remaining 2 bottles to the person next to her. A few dissatisfied glances swept over her, but didn't bother, while the short-haired, quiet girl saw this and her eyes changed slightly. She walked over and said a few bold words to her. Galanas, what you just did was wrong. You can drink nutritional supplements if you want. This habit is unfair to the group. Everyone should have the same amount of nutritional supplements every day, which is considered fair. You drank 2 bottles at once. Galanas was already in a bad mood, but now she was provoked by her words and cursed loudly. Why, are you not convinced? I can drink as much as I like, you can drink as you want, and I didn't say no to it. The quiet woman didn't show any weakness at all. If everyone drank as much as you did, a year's worth would not have been enough, and now it's even less. Didn't you say you wanted to lose weight? You said it but didn't do it. Galanas didn't expect this seemingly bullying village girl to dare to talk back to her. Of course, Galanas couldn't let her take the upper hand and stood up to sarcastically say, you can also drink. No one is forcing you, how can I deal with you? Besides, I'm in charge of food. If you make me unhappy, don't blame me for being impolite. A year is still long, if you don't want to eat dirt, just shut up. And your useless supplies don't threaten me, but mine is different. The short-haired woman gritted her teeth, tilted her head, lowered her eyes, and held back a lot of anger in her heart, thinking to herself. Yes. If I had a quarrel with her, without food, I really wouldn't be able to survive. The argument between the two came to an end, and everyone was well aware that although they were dissatisfied, they didn't say much. Only those who owned the food had the most power, equivalent to controlling the lives of a group of people. And Galanas not only has the right to food, but also is the one with the most supplies in the group. This is the unfair random draw material mode, which makes the players in the group draw different materials, and together they are all complete. But unfortunately, the rules of Challenge 365 Days of Primitive Survival are so unfair, rather than saying that this scheduled program is so abnormal. These contestants are all in their teens, and the older ones are only in their 20s. If their minds are not very mature, they are prone to problems. In short, if we form it together for a long time, there will definitely be problems, with piles of problems of various sizes. The girl on the tree blinked her round and watery eyes, sighed slightly, rolled over, and continued to close her eyes to rest. Her half-delicate and childlike face was exposed, and her long hair covered a small part. The woman walked a few laps on the banyan tree with the steering wheel in her hand, then returned to her original position, her face heavy and distressed. A few people saw her deep expression and asked, "What's wrong?" The woman raised her eyebrows and eyes, scratched her head, and said in confusion, "It's strange that the position she was pointing at is this tree, why is there no one in front or back? Where the hell has Qian Yanuo gone?" The ordinary-looking man guessed a strange idea and said, "Is she underground? It's good to be buried underground. You deserve it." Galanas interjected, speaking high up. A few people didn't know how to say her words, childish. The man with glasses said, "Is the steering gear broken? Qian Yanuo must be found, Yandong is still waiting to replenish the blood tonic." The woman pondered for a moment, recalling whether she had touched it, and then flipped through her eyes a few more times. It looked like Jean Xian had not broken. No, I have been holding this steering wheel all along, and it was the same yesterday. I didn't touch it, she said, it can't be broken. And it's still new. That's strange, is Qian Yanuo in the tree? The male spectator came up with a strange idea and said it. Several contestants were amused by his ideas and froze. Galanas sarcastically said, it turns out that Glasses man is also foolish at times. Just like that fool, how could a person be in a tree unless she's gone and her body is left in the soil? Didn't you see that pile of ash? It's probably Qian Yanuo. Seeing several people pondering, Gu Latin America responded with a few words, but unfortunately said, anything can appear in the forest at night. Qian Yanuo is a weak woman with a foolish mind. Oh, no, it's probably not smart. There's a possibility that something might give her. The man with glasses lowered his eyes in disbelief and said, it's impossible, Qian Yanuo will definitely be okay. Gulanasi calculated inwardly, why do you care so much about that person? Did you fall in love with her? The glasses man angrily said coldly, don't talk nonsense, I just want to find her, so that Ting Dong can be saved. Cut, won't you go find another group to ask for it? Galanas proudly said to herself. Do you think everyone is as big as you? Those from other groups are just from other groups. Even if I have thick skin, I won't do shameless things. What are you so afraid of? Galanas disapproved and despised it. The quiet short-haired woman interrupted, stop arguing. If you don't figure it out, just talk nonsense. It's even more impolite than someone with a lower status like me. Galanas frowned and gritted her teeth, warning, Huli, you. I just want to remind you that she should be on top, said the short-haired woman named Huli, pointing to the figure on the tree. Everyone looked up at the tree, and what caught their eyes was a person lying on the thick branch over 2 meters high, whose figure made them somewhat familiar. Suddenly, the girl sat up with a rough and bold gesture, stretching lazily. Her spirited and beautiful baby's chubby face was facing her petite and delicate body. Huli paused for a moment and said, she's not afraid of falling. You look so skilled. The person looks really good, said another man, Qian Yanuo. Galanas heard their words and was very sensitive, shouting angrily at the tree. Jealousy kept rising in her eyes, and seeing her face made her even more annoyed and resentful. Why is this woman so lucky not to die? Call me. Qian Yanuo knew they had arrived long ago, lazily turning his head and looking at the group of people under the tree. His gaze fell on the heavily make-up and gorgeous girl, and he said in a displeased tone. Are you deaf? I just called you this girl. Galanas said angrily. Is it hostile? This Galanas was dissatisfied with the original owner from the beginning. According to the original owner's memory, she had never met her before. She drew supplies for the first time the day before yesterday, and yesterday was the second time. On the second meeting, I was held in grudge. The original owner's black body technique was even more cunning. My cousin had a plan before, but later. In the future, it will be me who will take over. Hey! End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Headquarters, Fairness. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Headquarters, Fairness. What do you want me to do, or what do you want me to do? Qian Yanuo picked up his backpack and climbed up from the tree to the ground in a few strokes. He calmly picked up his bag and left Galanas and the others behind, facing several people with short hair next to him. Huli in the group saw her like this and thought to herself how Qian Yanuo felt like she had changed. Her tone of voice was different from yesterday's soft tone. Yesterday gave off a feeling of being bullied, but today is completely someone else. Is the expression and demeanor I saw today the true version of her? Not only Huli is thinking, but other players in the group are also thinking about this issue. In short, the current Qian Yanuo has a strong aura and looks difficult to deal with. Galanas also felt like something was about to change, feeling suffocated and suppressed. No, she doesn't want to be suppressed, this Qian Yanuo is just a weirdo. Just as Galanas was about to speak, she was interrupted by a woman holding a steering wheel on the side. Qian Yanuo, our team needs blood supplements. Gumo Yandong's player is injured, so we can't delay. Qian Yanuo's beautiful eyes narrowed slightly, and she glanced at the 18.19-year-old girl more. She sneered, "Okay, lead the way." The woman hesitated for a moment and said, "If you don't want to go back to our camp, we can bring the blood tonic back." Upon hearing this, Qian Yanuo smiled a few times. The woman didn't understand why she was laughing so much, and she sounded a bit scared, as if she had seen through something. There are really not many players in this group who make people look more relaxed and comfortable. Sigh. The original owner really doesn't have anyone to care about. I happen to be back at our camp. I haven't taken a shower all night, it's dirty. How can I interact with the audience in the live broadcast room later? The woman didn't expect her to say so, and hesitated for a moment. That's right, then let's go back together. Galanas, who was walking behind her, gave a disdainful cut and stared at her back in front of her. She arrogantly sarcastically said, "What a foul smell. It keeps coming, it's making my nose feel stuffy. Nas can't bear it, we'll be at our base soon." Gulams chuckled inwardly. Galanas deliberately sarcastically said, "When we reach the headquarters, wouldn't that be enough to stink the whole team?" Qian Yanuo's ears were sharp and he listened to her words without getting angry at all. His face was calm and completely indifferent. The corner of my mouth curled up. "I'm too lazy to chat with you, idiot. Reduce intelligence and waste time." Gulanasi gritted her teeth and stared fiercely, full of anger. There were places where she didn't have the time to urinate. I didn't expect her to be so patient. Yesterday was not like this. She cursed a few times and then jumped over the wall like a dog. How fun it was to play. Good grip. Now, this woman is ignoring herself. It's so despicable. Won't you ride on my head in the future? No, this is absolutely not allowed to happen. Think of a way or not. Galanas quieted down, and the team members thought she had changed her gender and was no longer eccentric. With her temperament, she would definitely not give up if she wasn't satisfied. And Galanas, who was guessed by the players in the group, had thoughts in her mind and a hint of poison in her eyes. Qian Yanuo keenly sensed the strong gaze on his back, his eyes sharp and slightly curved, and the corners of his mouth slightly curved. As a professional assassin, my instinctive reaction is that all parts of my body are sensitive. Of course, if I had been in a previous life, my body would have been much more sensitive. Now, my body is a bit weak, but fortunately, the original owner can dance and practice regularly. Those who can dance are also equivalent to exercising their bodies. It should be noted that those who learn dance now also need to exercise their bodies every day. I will gradually improve my physical fitness in the future. It would be great if there were any enhancers that could change and enhance my physical fitness. About 20 minutes later, they returned to the base camp they mentioned. The base camp was where all the contestants settled, surrounded by a net fence to protect small animals and wild animals from entering. The headquarters area is very large, over 100 acres. The ground is clean and smooth without any flowers, plants, or trees growing at all. In fact, the area of the headquarters is formed by a large and flat surface stone. The ground is a large stone block, with a height of 4 to 5 meters from the muddy ground to the stone block ground. This large stone was discovered by the director of the scheduling team, and it was designated as a base camp and installed with an internet bulletin board. The main camp is occupied by contestants and some management personnel, and directors and others do not live here. They wait until the assessment time to come. Qian Yanuo followed them into a spacious tent area with the letter D written on it, which was divided into small tent areas for a long time. In each small area, except for blankets and pillows, everything else was empty and there was nothing left. Qian Yanuo followed the woman to the entrance next to the tent cloth in the innermost community. After that, the woman stopped and looked at her. Qian Yanuo, give me the blood tonic. Qian Yanuo let out a faint "oh" and handed her a bottle of blood tonic. The woman's face slightly changed. One bottle, maybe not enough. After handing her the second bottle, Qian Yanuo pretended to cover his head and sat aside, his semen flashing, and he raised his lips. Where are my clothes? I need to take a shower. Hu Li noticed her head and exclaimed in shock, Qian Yanuo, is your head okay? Just now she paid attention to the bandage on her head. Qian Yanuo, it's okay. Where are my clothes? Hu Li kindly reminded, at Lan Hui's place, it's her. Qian Yanuo sneered and reached out his hand, asking her to give the clothes. The man with glasses took the blood tonic from Lan Hui's hand and said coldly, Yandong, I'll take care of it myself. Lan Hui felt a suffocation in his heart, and when he saw the person in front of him, he felt a bit inexplicable. He quickly took out a set of uniform clothes for the contestants from the storage compartment of the Star Network machine. Qian Yanuo took it and looked at the light blue sports long-sleeved pants in her hand. Her expression was faint and hard to understand. She looked up at the person in front of her and said, there's more. Lan Hui became impatient and handed her the underwear again. Oh. It's gone. Qian Yanuo sneered and asked, it's really gone? At this moment, Galanas interjected, Qian Yanuo, you should be satisfied. We are all a new set of people, fair and just enough. What else do you think? Qian Yanuo looked directly at the question and calmly said, make sure it's fair and just. Her piercing eyes forced Lan Hui's gaze to slightly dodge and firmly say, that's all. Qian Yanuo, don't go too far. Lan Hui said there's no one left, just no one. Each person has a set of clothes. What else do you want? Qian Yanuo's eyes were sharp and his aura was stronger than just now. He asked, I'm saying it again, it's really just two pieces in one set. Lan Hui glanced at her and hesitated for a moment, no. Qian Yanuo sneered again, laughing so hard that it made people goosebumps. What do you mean, smile whatever you want? Galanas disliked her smile and couldn't breathe. Qian Yanuo took a step forward over the woman and said to a woman named Lan Hui, if I remember correctly, each person has a set of clothing. The clothing is not only upper and lower clothes and inner lining, but also a coat, a pair of boots, a pair of sports shoes, and 2 pairs of socks. And I only got half of it in my hand, where did the rest go? Or maybe I treated it differently. Hee hee. Do you think I'm a fool? End of this chapter. Chapter 10. On Hatred, Borrow a Place. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. On Hatred, Borrow a Place. Just as Galanas was about to speak, a strong gaze passed over as if it was accurate, and then the words that made people listen to Zhenwei also spread out. You, shut up. This sentence drew the attention of other group members. What's wrong with the two of them? I feel like Qian Yanuo is going too far. She bullied people as soon as she came back, and Lan Hui was scared by her. Lan Hui, you provoked me. Qian Yanuo advanced, while Lan Hui retreated, turning his head and feeling a bit guilty. Qian Yanuo stopped and shook his leg, saying in a wicked voice, don't retreat either. Fill in what's left of me, otherwise I'll go crazy and do nothing. Qian Yanuo paused for a moment, his deep and dark gaze strongly fixed on him, and he said deeply, the person who can survive a night in the wilderness is not just relying on luck. You must understand that I don't know you at all, and you don't know me all. Word by word, Lan Hui was forced to look into her eyes, with an unpleasant expression and difficulty breathing. She grabbed her hair like she was completely going crazy, feeling guilty and panicked. Her hands trembled and she said, here you are, here you are. Qian Yanuo glanced at the things on the ground, curled his lips and smiled with a sinister aura. He opened his mouth and said in a sinister tone, there's more. There is also a set for spring, winter, and summer. Word by word. Ah. Give, all give, Lan Hui exclaimed in a frenzy, as if she had lost control. She shook her hands and clicked on the Star Network machine, throwing several sets of clothing at her. The contestants next to me were surprised to see this scene. But Galanas was dissatisfied with Lan Hui's actions and walked forward. Qian Yanuo, you're going too far. These few outfits haven't been worn yet. It's only spring now. It's not time to claim them either. Qian Yanuo still had a smiling face and lazily waved his hand, saying, it was given by Lan Hui. You can ask her. Galanas became furious and gritted her teeth, pointing at her, you. Lan Hui hurriedly said, I'll give it. At this moment, Lan Hui's eyes were somewhat confused and empty, as if he had lost his soul and been controlled. But no one knows what's going on with Lan Hui, only she knows. It's just a professional skill of a killer, and this little trick is most useful for dealing with such people. Do you see it? Qian Yanuo chuckled, picked up the clothes and stored them in the Star Network machine, then turned around and left. Thinking of something, she stopped and turned her head. By the way, where is the bathroom? At this moment, Lan Hui detached from her gaze and had already regained some clarity. In the central area of the headquarters. Qian Yanuo chuckled and said, let's go. Huli looked at the person walking out and suddenly thought to herself, wait, Lan Hui, that place is not. What's wrong with that place? It's also a bathhouse. Lan Hui's gaze scanned sinister as he gritted his teeth. Huli exclaimed urgently, even though our D camp has a private bathroom, why did you tell her to go to the central area? Galanas thought of something and smiled smugly as she approached her, saying, Huli. The bathhouse is also a place for bathing. Lan Hui is not wrong either. Little slut, just wait for your reputation to fall apart. Huli, but that place can only be washed at night, and there will be other photographers during the day. Wait, shoot. Looking up and staring at him, you want it. No way, stop it. Galanas smiled, haha, and warned, if you dare to go out, don't even want the nutritional supplements. You know, even if this program kills people, you don't mind. Huli lowered her head with a dejected expression. Lan Hui's eyes flashed with a hint of malice as he thought of his previous actions, and his hand clenched tightly. Qian Yanuo, no matter what kind of trickery you just used, if you humiliate me like this, from now on, Lan Hui and you will be at odds. So it's like this. Bathroom. This woman seems to have a grudge against her. My dark constitution is really dark. Qian Yanuo stopped carrying a bucket of hot water, looked up, blocked the glare with his hand, and glanced at the sky. His gaze swept over the players coming and going, and he smiled wickedly. This little trick, you're just trying to prank me. Hee hee. In a tent, a young girl chose to dance in the live broadcast room when suddenly a voice came out. Immersed in the dance, the girl finished her last wave and looked up at the person in front of her. She asked, you were calling me just now? Yes, Qian Yanuo. What's up? The girl asked. Qian Yanuo said directly, borrow a place, take a shower. The girl listened to the complex and strange changes in her expression, while a male contestant beside her who was drinking water heard it and immediately, poop, sprayed out the water that was about to be swallowed. You, a contestant from another group, came here just to take a shower. Qian Yanuo said lightly, The handsome male contestant asked again, I was rejected by my teammates. Qian Yanuo pondered for a moment and said, there's no hot water left. Come to the bathroom to take a shower. It's quite close here. A handsome male contestant, so it's just to get close. Qian Yanuo remained silent for a few seconds and said, almost, do you mind? The girl waved her hand and her ancient and mischievous eyes revealed, calculating something. You can use that bathhouse any way you want. Qian Yanuo looked up and down, and a fleeting image flashed through his mind. Sure enough, the girl rubbed her hands again and said, but well. With your figure and face, it's a pity not to dance. Let's dance together. I won't teach you. Qian Yanuo remained silent for a few seconds and said, I haven't taken a shower all day and night, let me take a shower first. Pointing at his head again, he said, the smell of fishy hair is uncomfortable. After listening to her words, the handsome man couldn't help but laugh. And the girl, why not follow the usual routine? It's really different. Okay, can you do it? Let me help you carry a bucket. The girl just saw a bucket of water behind her, stared blankly, and said friendly. No need. Qian Yanuo. Okay. Then I'll take you to wash it. The girl pursed her lips and said. Qian Yanuo carried a bucket of hot water with both hands, following behind her like a strong force. The handsome male contestant looked as if he had encountered something interesting and withdrew his gaze, muttering, the days ahead are finally not boring anymore. After turning a few corners, I arrived at a corner where the bathroom was inside the partition. Qian Yanuo gently opened it, carried the water in, and closed the door. This bathroom is like a regular house. Why is the bathroom better than living in it? Living in a tent, everyone's area is still blocked by cloth windows. From top to bottom, clean your head and then your body. Half an hour later, Qian Yanuo washed the changed clothes and threw them into another storage compartment to automatically absorb moisture. After finishing, she sighed comfortably and walked out wearing slippers while wiping her head. Taking a shower is different, the whole person feels much more comfortable and relaxed. Walking into the common area of the tent, the same two people said, thank you. The girl handed her the hair dryer and said, this is a battery-powered hair dryer, you can use it with just a press of the switch. Qian Yanuo also politely took it and said, thank you. End of this chapter.